confidence, but I would do it even when I'm scared. Like, I don't really want to ask, but I don't want to not know. So that supersedes any fear, and I go right in and ask the question.
I'm fine exactly the way I am. The people who know me, the people who like me, and the people who are my friends now, they like me just the way I am.
Yeah, I'm sticking to the topic. It's like, okay, I don't have to shrink around them. I could be myself, you know. And not only that, you know, what are we doing as far as cultivating the environment for our children? And do we align with the same belief system? It gets deeper as you get older, right?
Trust the process. Trust the process. Okay, I'll go back a little bit. So, but yeah. So being an introvert and then having the nickname Shy went hand in hand, and maybe I just took it a little too literally, like being quiet and being shy.
Be careful what you name your kids.
Yes. Names, you know, have meanings. They have power, and you know, you just never know.
True.
You just never know. And so, I would think that by being quiet, and when people are like, "Oh, you need to speak up more," like, "Why are you so quiet? Like, you're so shy. You're so quiet," and it just seemed like a negative thing to me. And then when people be loud, or you know, just more loud around me as like other kids, they would get more attention, or they would, you know, me being quiet just seemed like, okay, she's fine, and just kind of just putting her to the side.
Yeah, the loudest one in the room is
getting the most attention, you know. And I mean, if they're loud and being disruptive, obviously the teacher has to pay more attention and so forth. But when you're quiet, you know, people just think, oh, you're quiet and she's fine. Or they're like, oh, she seems sad. Like, is she sad? Like, she's always sad because she's so quiet. And I'm like, no, I just don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember
you didn't ask me any direct questions, so I just didn't have anything to say. I'm doing my homework, doing my thing by myself, and I don't mind being by myself and doing things by myself. I felt pretty content. I don't have to do anything else, and I was like, that's cool. I don't have to share. I'm fine. So I was like, to me, I'm like, no. Why would you ask me that? Like, you just look so sad, and you're just so quiet, and just to yourself. Yep.
Kind of like that attribute.
It's actually what I'm enjoying myself. It means I'm pretty content if that's the case. So it's like, no, don't need much over here. I'm good. But as I got older, especially around like other kids and in school, me being quiet just seemed like something that they could pick on. And like the other times when I would raise my hand or speak up in spaces was to like the teachers. So it's like a teacher's pet, and I was good in school. So it's just like those kind of things. It's just like, okay, something about my quietness bothers people, and I don't understand why.
Right.
And I'm looking at the other hand, it's like, something about your loudness bothers me. Like, you're disrupting my peace over here.
Right.
Like, you can do your thing, but don't bring me into it. Like, why is it my problem for not having so many words? Like, you use 1,000 words a minute. That's not my fault.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, all right. But some kids just didn't react to that very well. And then I remember I just got sick and tired of people just kind of pushing me around and being like, you know what, well, I'll just assume that she don't have an opinion because she's not saying nothing. I'm like, you didn't ask me. If you were to ask me, I'm not just going to jump in and provide an opinion in a space where you didn't actually include me in.
Right.
So I'll keep it to myself. I do have an opinion, but if I don't need to share it, or if I don't feel like I need to be involved, I won't say anything. And I'll just keep it pushing until you ask me. Then I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually what I think about that. But if you don't ask, I'm not just gonna.
I remember
force my opinion onto things.
When they would be like, "She's always so quiet. Is everything okay?" And I'm just like,
"Yeah." They'd be like, "Is everything okay at home?"
Right.
Yes. Fine. Do you not realize this is the quietest I can be?
Right.
Like, I got 3 sisters back home. It's loud.
It's loud.
This is my peace. Like, like, please, there's
Right.
no problem. I'm coloring.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most
I'm
peaceful thing.
focused.
I'm focused
I'm
on this
pulling together
math problem.
something.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm drawing. I'm having a good time with these markers. This is a great experience for me.
Right, right, right.
You're ruining.
I'm producing something amazing.
Yes, like I get to draw without sharing markers. I get the colors, all the things that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
I promise.
Very content.
I'm very content. I'm okay. And just seeing how, like, as you go more and more, and I think it really was probably until high school where I was like by myself, more or less. I had like 2 other people who went to the same high school from literally kindergarten through 8th grade that went to the same high school as me. So I had to start over. And no one knew who I was. No one knew much of anything about me. I was still quiet then. Like, I tell my friends this all the time because it was the truth. Freshman year, I was like dancing and stuff, but I sat in the counselor's office eating lunch every single day all of freshman year. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anyone to talk to. So, and making new friends freaked me out.
It was hard.
It was really hard because a lot of the kids that came to my high school were already at the same middle school or elementary school.
So they already had a relationship.
And that was pretty much everyone. Everyone knew each other already. So I'm sure there was a few who were just starting fresh like I did, but it's not like we found each other. So it was like I was by myself. So I sat in the counselor's office and got to know the counselor. And speaking of which, that was how I found out about Minds Matter. She told me about it because I was sitting in there eating lunch with her all the time. And she was just really nice, and I really appreciated her for that. And then I started to notice that it became a sitting area. When I actually stepped out of her office, a bunch of kids would sit out there. So when I was eating lunch, I noticed more kids were coming down there to eat lunch as well. And those were the kids I actually started to talk to, and they ended up becoming my friends. So it was like a common thing that people came down here to eat lunch. And eventually we moved upstairs and we sat in the window. And like the window seat, those who know the window seat was the best seat inside of the whole school. I never sat in the cafeteria to eat lunch. That was just never something I did. I grabbed my lunch from the cafeteria and I went to go sit in the window with all of my friends, and we played music and cards and all kinds of stuff during the lunch break in the hallway. And it was the best window seat ever. By senior year, everybody was trying to get over there in the window seat, and it ended up becoming like our thing. So I was really excited about it later on. But I ended up finding my people anyway. Like even though I was quiet, I didn't feel like I had to do more
Than being yourself.
than being myself. And that just came with time, and it just came with me just seeing like, no, I'm fine the way I am. Like though everything around me is telling me different, I'm fine exactly the way I am. The people who know me, the people who like me, and the people who are my friends now, they like me just the way I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like finding that confidence, but it's also affirming when you do find your people and they're constantly reaffirming you and like, no, we like you, like you're funny, like you're, all these things. And it's just like, okay, that makes me feel better. Like,
so you feel like the person that you were at home, you were also at school, but it just was abnormal to people that you were so quiet and so.
I would say the person who I was at home wasn't really who I was at school. It wasn't until high school that I really was like, nah, I'm just gonna double down on being exactly who I am. And honestly, what got me was I would slip up sometimes because people will be saying stuff and and I'm like, oh, that's clearly the wrong answer, and then I'd be like, it's actually this, and then I'd be like, did I say that? And they're like, oh, so you know this? And I'm like, yeah.
And then it's like, you can't backpedal now.
No. What you say? It's like, you're right. So I said this, and I think this is, and I'm like, okay, so it wasn't necessarily negative when I actually shared my opinion.
Right.
It was actually okay.
Right.
And so things just kind of continued that way, and it made me feel a lot better. And I started joining clubs. I started clubs. I was doing more sports and things, and it's like I felt more able to do a lot of the other things around with other students and kids around me because I just felt more secure in myself. I was just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care anymore. Like, you guys are not going to steamroll me. I'm going to still be me. And that is more than okay.
That was like a great segue, though. Also, like going into college, you have to be more independent. You have to be more, sure of yourself and making decisions.
Yep.
So it was like you got built up for that without even really realizing it in the perfect timing. So when you went to college,
Yeah.
you were able to.
Like going to college, I was very like, no, like you're not gonna sway my opinion. Like I feel this way, or this is this, and making decisions and being more just direct with how I felt about things and like the knowledge that I have. I'm like, no, I did my research on this. Like I'm pretty sure what I'm sharing and what I'm, sharing my opinion about. I know some things about it.
Yeah, we experienced that season at home too.
I
I was like, oh, okay.
was like, I know
She
some
said
things.
she knows, so let her see it
Okay.
through then.
Now, I wouldn't say
You be
I
like,
know
Mom, I got this.
everything.
I've done
But
my
I feel
research.
confident in myself to do it. At least let me try. So.
Yeah. So I do see where that, just you explaining it in that timeline, like, oh yeah, I remember when things started to seem like, okay, she's telling me that she got this. And I mean, you would still reach out for help at times, but I saw that growth and confidence and, yeah, that evolution of you crossing over to Miss Independent. Yeah, and feeling sure in your voice. Yeah. I think I can say that there was an evolution for me too, but I think a lot of just listening to you, the difference of your surroundings, your parents. Of course, your dad's an introvert. I've always been said I was an extrovert, but I think it was just different spaces and places. When I'm really comfortable with the people that I'm around, I'm very goofy, outgoing, and just super silly, entertaining, not even trying to, but that's just my personality. However, I could say, like, through school, since we're going back and being in elementary school, I think I was still goofy and funny with certain people, but I was just a chatty Cathy. I had a lot to say. I was always talking. I remember my mom coming to conferences and it was always, yeah, she just talks a lot and she's disrupting the class. She's just always talking.
As people would say today, you was a yapper.
I was a yapper, okay? And I just asked a lot of questions, and I still today. I'm very inquisitive. I'm intuitive. I like to know. I like to be in the know. I'm not opposed to wisdom. I want to know. And why? And why? It's always more until I'm clear. And I think that that part of me comes not only from like a space of wanting to know, but also like a fear of not knowing.
Yeah.
And
being prepared.
Yeah, so I think that's what overshadows the lack of, or I would say lack of confidence, but I would do it even when I'm scared. Like, I don't really want to ask, but I don't want to not know. So that supersedes any fear, and I go right in and ask the question, go right to the front of the room, wherever I have to go, and people are like, are you going to go? And yeah, I'm going to go ask, because I want to know. I don't want to not know. But when it came to like friends, it was always easy for me to make friends because I was always the one seeing the underdog or the person that seemed like they're alone.
Yeah.
Even though if I feel like I'm content with a group and I may not be super close, it might just been something that was orchestrated by the teacher. I go full out. Even when I was a little girl, I would go full out with these people. Like, they're my best friends for the day. We're working together. And then the next day, I didn't necessarily need to be with those same people. I would be so okay with just going with a whole nother group. Like, there was this not really getting attached. I just really loved people.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. And I can remember the new kids would come in. I would be the first one to greet them, in school. Hey, I'm Tyree. What's your name? And they would be my friend until I move on to another group. But like, I would connect them with other people.
Yeah.
Even like in fourth grade. I remember specifically a girl came in from Virginia and she was like quiet and to herself. And it's like I had a radar for it. And I was like, she needs a friend. And I would go and introduce myself and get to know her. But then somehow I would connect her with other people and then I'd be moving on. I still check in every now and then, but I made my rounds. And then moving on to middle school, that was a lot tougher. I feel like that was the defining moment of me coming into my own. Who am I was necessary to know, like, what do I stand for? What
Mm-hmm.
group do I fit in? And the look and the group of kids that are around you seems like you said they grew up together.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, there's groups.
I'm like, so where am I? I'm supposed to just slide in.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is that message of, you get told, like, be yourself. Like, you need to be yourself. Like, don't worry about anybody else. There is a certain level of fitting in that is part of just survival. You need, when it comes to other kids, you gotta figure out where you can fit in. It may not be fully transforming your entire self.
Right.
But you gotta be a little bit of a chameleon to be able to slide into certain friend groups.
Where do you belong? Like, I'm not gonna hang with people that I don't agree with. You realize, oh, I do stand for something.
But you have to try it out first. Like, okay, well, I'm gonna try and fit into this group. Didn't work? All right, I'm gonna try and fit into this group. And then you end up finding the group and the people where you're just like, oh, I can be 100% myself.
Yeah, this is my
I don't
people.
have to try anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, to some extent, fitting in, you do, but not like changing your entire self and just losing yourself completely.
And it's not a negative thing. I think it's only a negative thing when you are conforming.
Yeah.
And you're no longer identifying with who you are to fit in. But I think ultimately you learn at some point, it's like, okay, there is a such thing as groups. And this group, they're into this. I'm not into that. Okay, this matters. So now you start leaning towards people that are more in alignment with the things that you're interested in and the things that you stand for, or something in that range,
And sometimes you don't realize what those values and things are, or things you're just like non-negotiable, whatever those things are, until you try to associate yourself with a certain group. And you're like, ooh, I didn't know that before, but I realized I actually don't like this very much. So, peace and blessings.
And it don't mean I don't have to like you.
Yeah,
it just means
like, right,
I don't hang with you as much, but you're still a cool person. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that follows you even as you get older, like as an adult. You're in spaces and places, and I think it gets more defined because now you realize where you're spending your time and who you're spending your time with can be taxing. Not only can it be taxing, but it also can help you become better, or it can take away, from who you are. And I think that's also how you get clarity on, what's going to help you continue to move forward is where, you start to define your career goals and your aspirations, and because we're all like inspired by something.
Yeah.
And you realize people around you sometimes can be your inspiration, So you're just like, I'm not going to go to those kind of spaces anymore or those events. But like you said, you got to put yourself out there, and eventually you start to, some people are just like, tolerating you, and you realize, okay, this doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And then just people that really celebrate you, and they're like your cheerleaders, and they're like rooting for you, and you're like, okay, I get where this is going. I don't want to be tolerated. I don't want to just be here.
Yeah.
I want to be around the people that are rooting for me, want to see me to succeed. And not only that, they are the ones that promote you in other spaces. They look out for you. They don't quiet your voice. They don't want you to conform because they, like you said, you're friends and you found your tribe. They enjoy you just the way you are. And we're all benefiting each other, let's be clear. Like I can look at my friends and be like, okay, this friend brings this out in me, or they hold me accountable in this way, or they make me laugh, or that one I can confide in them when I'm down or whatnot. But most importantly, like I'm sticking to the topic, it's like, okay, I don't have to shrink around them. I could be myself, and not only that, what are we doing as far as cultivating the environment for our children? And do we align with the same belief system? It gets deeper as you get older.
Yeah.
Right?
Now there's layers to certain interactions and relationships that you have because they affect other people.
And it also is like, okay, who am I when I'm with them?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Who am I becoming?
Like, what do they bring out of me
Mm-hmm.
when I'm around these certain groups of people?
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, like, you could be around people for a while and not realize it. And after a while, you're just like, dang, you're starting to take on and adopt some of the habits and behaviors of other people. Um, or likewise, they may be doing the same from you. And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
said sometimes you benefit from each other.
Yeah.
That's why alignment is important. And it's not saying that I can't cultivate relationships with different kind of people,
Mm-hmm.
but who you spend the time with the most really matters. I feel like it sets the tone for even like your kids. You see the kind of friends I
Mm-hmm.
have or whatnot, and how I talk and how I am when I'm with them. Because I could be around family and I get hyphy. I get real excited, and it's like a whole like, because those are my people.
Yeah.
I could be true to my core. There's no expectations, no judgment. As some would say, a safe space.
Yeah.
But you're like completely yourself. That's why they say your cousins are like your first best friends, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Um, and we just know when something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? And you know when, hey, you're not yourself,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think with that too, it's like having those people around you who are able to be that mirror for you and be like, look, you not moving like how you used to move. Like, are you
Mm-hmm.
okay? Like, do
Mm-hmm.
we need to have a conversation? Like, and not necessarily like you doing anything negative. They're just like,
Mm-hmm.
we know you enough. We've known you for such a long period of time, a significant amount of
Mm-hmm.
time to know that
Something ain't right.
something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel like that comes with time too, of just knowing those people or knowing that that is a standard for your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have friends who are just like, you know what, we're gonna have to check you. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to have a real conversation out of
Mm-hmm.
love,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
this is not like you.
Right. What's going on?
What's going on? You know, and I feel like with my friends, they like that is something that we all give each other permission to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, look, I love you. And we'll just start it off like that.
Mm-hmm.
But something does seem a little off.
Mm-hmm.
Or I still think you should hang with these certain people or do these certain things because
Mm-hmm.
it just seems not like you.
Right.
Now, if there's something I'm missing, maybe I'm missing something.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be a new version of you that I'm still learning to catch up with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay too. But being that transparent and being able to be that vulnerable or even ask those questions, because some people be like, don't question me.
Right. Right.
Like, don't question
Mm-hmm.
me. And I'm like, okay, but fair enough.
Right. I think that also comes from, you know, when you have people that you consistently be around,
Mm-hmm.
you become invested in those friendships.
Yeah.
And you become invested in those family members. You know them. You know them. And you know that they just wouldn't do certain things to
Mm-hmm.
hurt you. You know that that wouldn't be their intention. You know when you really are invested in people that you care about, someone can come to you and be like, you know, so and so said or did such and such, and you could be like,
Yeah, like nah.
no, they wouldn't do that because you know their character,
Mm-hmm.
you know them as a person, and history has shown you consistently how they show up, and that don't align with them.
Mm-mm.
So you go to the source. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you be like, what's going on, and give them an opportunity. You don't just
Believe the
believe
first
what it is.
information.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Mhm.
I'm like, nah. I'm like, I hear it,
Mhm.
but I'm not about to make this a bigger mess. I'd
Right.
rather just go to the person and be like, hey, so I'm hearing this thing. Just want
Mhm.
to bring it to your attention if you weren't
Mhm.
aware.
Mhm.
How would you like us to proceed
Right.
forward?
Right.
You know, but
Mhm.
using, I feel like learning what your voice is and how your voice
Mhm.
echoes through a room or interacts with other people, and then on top of that, knowing how to use your voice in the right way.
Mhm.
It's like you know your voice.
Mhm.
How do I use my voice? And being able to recognize that like some things just aren't for me.
Mhm.
You know, it's all part of this whole process,
Mhm.
and it's a day-to-day thing. It's not like it's really definitive here and there and there.
Mhm.
It changes over time.
Right. It does. And then seasonal, you can go through certain things in your life and your whole perspective can shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen people where death in their families have caused them to completely shift. A new birth of a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you're married, you weren't married before. Just moving in a different space. You might
moving
not.
entirely, like physically
Yeah.
being so far apart for someone for so long, they're a different person.
They've adapted to new things in their new
Mm-hmm.
current space. And I think that also comes with not shrinking, being yourself. In this season, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And people around you that care about you, that love you, that are really for you, will give you that space to grow. And they will understand when you need space.
Mm-hmm.
They will understand when you are in a season of transformation or change due to an event or something that may have transpired in your life. Um, I feel like this episode is really going toward friendships now.
It is, but I say along those same lines of like giving yourself grace as you're learning your whole new voice. After you've gone through whatever X, Y, and Z of those kind of really big milestone things in someone's life, what is my voice like now? Who am I now?
Who am I now?
And being able to give yourself grace, like now you have to start over possibly, define like who that person is, and just like reconnect with who you are now in this new space. This is a new normal. Now I got to figure out who Cheyenne is in this season. Who am I in this season? How do I want the people around me to show up for me then too?
Yeah, and asking those questions. Like, I think it's important to know that sometimes you might need to pause and rest, and you may not be as active. You may not be as visible to even your friends and your family. Um, and it's maybe because you need some time to assess where you are. And there's got to be room for that, but I think it's important to communicate when that is necessary to people that you really care about.
Yeah.
Now, if we like really care about each other, we're really, really solid. Yeah, those are people that need to know that there's a change happening because they'll notice there's a difference.
I feel like that's also pulling a page out of like a introvert's little handbook of like sometimes you need to retreat and take care of yourself and recharge. And I feel like on the other end for myself of pulling a page out of the extrovert's handbook, pull me out of that hole. Like I need some people to actually be like, come and get me. Like I've been hibernating for quite a while. The bonnet has not come off. The robe has not come off. I've eaten every snack. I've watched every show. Pull me out.
Somebody come get me.
The battery is overcharged. You are fine. Come on. Let's go take a walk. Let's go do something else.
Yeah.
So you're not so in your bubble of self and just like, you need people, right? You can't be talking to yourself in the mirror. This is not insecure. Like you can't be doing that.
Yeah. And those people that are your core, they're gonna come. They're gonna call. They're gonna show up. And that to me is always like reaffirming who your people are. The ones that check on you without needing anything, the ones that call with no expectations, or the ones that just say, hey, in the middle of their day for no reason. And then it doesn't mean that they have to be always showing up like that, but some people are just there when you need them, when you call. And then the ones that are not able to be there, you still hold a place for them because you share something special together. We're all going through things in life. This is just a reality. And everybody is going through or coming out of something.
Yeah, going through, coming.
And being sensitive to that and not holding people to this standard in your mind to the where that it can break what you have because it just didn't fit into your timeline or your needs.
Sometimes standards need to be refreshed. You gotta reevaluate those things over time. Like, okay, this is the new normal because you're now a mother. This is the new, like this is how we interact with each other now based off of X, Y, and Z. But if you're still stuck on how things were 10, 20 years ago, I'm like, I'm not that same person anymore.
That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I agree. So it's a learning experience, and you're always growing. We're not. I don't think no one is I don't think that is how we were constructed. We were not created that way. it's always going to be an evolution of you in different spaces, different experiences, and you have no clue what's coming. You
We're
just
meant
don't.
to evolve. We're meant to
Always
not be
abounding.
so like complacent and stuck in the same space. Like that's where we grow. That's where we learn more about ourselves. Where we learn more about others and how they interact with us. But I think you said it before in like a previous episode of like a rubber band being stretched. Like when something's stretched, it doesn't go back to the same shape. And the people around you tend to be able to stretch with you, and sometimes they don't. But you won't know until those things happen, and life kind of makes those stretchers of like stretching you out of that comfort zone and that space as well.
So, what kind of conversations do you have with your friends to check in? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
I think it looks more of just like letting each other share the floor equally. If like, all right, I just dumped all my things, validate me in certain areas where I feel like I may need it. Tell me if it's like, maybe I need to see this from a different perspective, and like being able to share that different perspective. And then, okay, now it's your turn. Having that chance to equally, as equally as possible, because sometimes it won't always be, because someone may just need the floor today, and today's their day, and that's fair too. But being able to reciprocate that same energy of listening and sharing advice, or even just taking that person's lead. If they need a distraction, then they need a distraction. They don't always want to talk about it. They don't always need to vent, but being open and be like, I just need to vent. I'm like, I'll listen. And being able to share that. And then it's like, all right, we've been sad. Now let's put on some music. Let's get dressed. Let's go to a movie. Like, let's do something just to help us get out of that space so we're not there for so long. Like, allowing the room to do both sides. And I feel like as a friend group, we do that pretty well, but also just like keeping things light and airy. But when it is time to get pretty serious and things happen, we're there. And it's very much like, I'm taking your lead. What do you need from us? And I will show up the best way that I know how, based off of what you presented to me.
I love that. I think asking and also sharing what you need is so important, because people can't read minds. And no one knows exactly what people are going through. So it's just like, just let me know.
Yeah.
And I'll do my best to try to meet you there as your friend, And then also like that with family. I feel the same way. Like if there's something that I'm informed of, that there's a need, trying to show up the best that you can. So not having the expectation that it's going to be done exactly the way one may need, but do the best that you can with resources and what you have to offer to meet that need, and letting those things be acceptable.
Yeah. And I think also just letting like my friends like come to me about things, rather than like I may notice something, but rather than like, I'm here, let me be the friend, let me show up, or just like,
ugh, yeah, that could be overwhelming.
Letting them come to me and letting them tell me what they need, or when they're ready to share this thing. Like I may have peeped it for some time, but giving you that freedom, like it's your thing. So you share with me when you're ready to share.
When you're ready, yeah.
I'm not gonna force you to try and move and progress in certain steps to make you feel better. Like I want you to feel better, but that's not the goal. The goal is you feeling like you have a safe space to deal with it as you wish to deal with it.
Is there any one thing that you can think of, or multiple things, that you would have told your maybe 15-year-old self about how to navigate friendships?
Friends come and go, and that like some people are in your life for a reason, some people in your life for a season, and some people in your life for a lifetime. And I truly believe that. And it's not just like friendships. Sometimes it's even like work friends, or even actual relationships, or just like mentors, or whoever it may be. You'll end up being able to like put them into that category of like, oh, these people are in my life for a season, some people are in my life for a reason, and some people are in my life for a lifetime. And they have a long-lasting impact on you even when they're gone. But just being able to tell younger Shy that like, though I struggle to make friends, majority of my life, that there are people that see me and see me where I'm at, rather than me trying to do more to meet people to accept me, and the other way around. So it's like just
They'll come.
They'll come. And I often say that with introverts, I'm pretty sure most introverts could say that they do not know how they got friends. If I'm being 100%, there is some extroverted friend that you have that came to you, and they attached themselves to you,
and you're like, I don't know how they got
we're
there.
friends now. As you said, you're my friend now, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Let's do it.
All right, sure. We'll see how this goes. You know, like, I think that's a lot of introvert story. At least for me, that's how my story went. A lot of my friends are very outgoing and open, and they talk to a lot of people, and I'm just like, okay, here for the ride.
Right. And they end up working out. I say as an extrovert, introvert, I believe I'm both, because I have moments where I just really be to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Sometimes I get too content with being to myself. And then I have a small, tight group of friends that I feel like I'm a really protective friend, because I try to make sure that they're well. And I try to be the peacemaker, and I try to encourage and uplift. But I also be trying to shield, because I feel like sometimes I see things and I make it my business to look out, and they may not need it all the time. But I look at some of my friends and I be like, I don't really remember how we came to be. And I think it's not, and like you're saying, sometimes people come along and it's always in a setting for me where I meet people in a group, and then I just find myself to connect with one more than the other.
Yeah.
And then we stay in contact, and then we just kind of build from there. So I feel like I have a lot of people that I'm great connected with, people, what you call them, associates, that I've met in so many different places, and we still like connect and communicate on a regular basis. Sometimes it may be distance, but it's like no time has been lost when we do get linked back up, or we have a phone call or whatnot. And then there's those people that are in your life that are more like sisters, and you connect with on a regular basis. You share stuff with that you wouldn't share with the other people. And some of those relationships have been so long that you just like, I don't remember exactly when.
Yeah.
But we evolved, and we've seen a lot of seasons together. Yeah, and you're just like, hey, it worked. But I know I probably was, I want to say I probably was the initiator to some
it was
extent.
Me.
Just like,
I said, so you're the one attaching yourself
yeah, to I just kind of be like, hey girl, we had a good conversation. Let's exchange numbers. We should get together. Yeah, I'm probably that one. I'm probably the person.
I'm always the one like, here, put your number in my phone. I'm like, okay.
Yep, that's me. I'll be like, put your number in my phone.
I'm like, okay.
What side of town you live on? Ooh, personal.
Oh, northeast. It's very broad. So there you go.
And then I'll be like, by such and such. Okay, you're not far from me. We're going to have to get together sometime.
And I'm like, oh.
Now it makes me feel like I'm a little creepy. She's a little overbearing sometimes. But I'm not like that with everybody, because I promise you, I could talk to you for like less than 5 minutes and know if we'll ever do tea again. You just not my cup of tea. I can tell. I can sense.
I will say,
not
though,
a good,
like,
good
when
vibe.
I'm out, say like I'm by myself and I'm just like at the grocery store or the mall or something, people flock to me and want to talk to me for some reason. And I'm like, what part of me said that we wanted to chat?
Right.
And I'm like, they're cool people, but I'm like, I'll just be talking to strangers. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
You know, like, that was great. But I'm just like, interesting. What energy am I putting out here?
I get that a lot, where people
Very
literally
interesting people
share everything. And I consider that a blessing. And I do handle that with care. Because I don't know what people are going through. And sometimes it's happened when I'm going through something really hard at that point, and it's like God is telling me that I need to put myself to the side and be of service to someone else. And when I do that, those people, I may never see them again. But there have been a few that I have stayed in contact with for a season.
Yeah.
And then they fall off as well. And it's like I can sense it when it's like, okay, it's coming to an end. Not on negative terms at all. It's just you were there for a reason at that moment or a season, like you said. But yeah, people come to me and they share. I say, well, I'm going to go to my grave with a lot of stuff because it's things that I just, of course, you don't share it. But it's just like, wow, I remember that person came to me and bared it all. And I may have prayed with them in that moment or followed up with them in prayer. And next you know, it's like, poof, never see him again. It's
See,
like, wow.
for me, it's more like, so what's the directions to get to such and such market? And I'm
You
just
look like you know where
do
you're
I
going.
look like I know where I'm going? I don't. I don't know where I'm going. Google left me behind. I don't know where I'm going. So
But you probably stop and look it up and help them.
They're like, she looks like she knows where the toilet paper is here in this store. Why? Why do you think that?
She looks real clean.
Why do you think that? I was like, I think it's over here. She's like, okay. And then they were like, so how's your day going? I'm like, don't you need toilet paper?
So I can go back about my business, in my own little bubble, enjoying my day.
They're like, oh, okay. They're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, what is this? Are we walking together to go get the toilet paper? Okay. All right, well, I'll indulge in this conversation. Now I know about little Timmy. Now I know what you do for work. You volunteer here. And I'm like,
all for some Charmin.
Just cottontail. No, cottontail. I don't know. Toilet paper. I use Angel Salt. They ain't the point. But yeah, it's a lot of those where it's just like, it's just random.
And then they leave you in the aisle and go bye, and you just like, now what was I doing?
Okay. Got me turned around. Now I'm like, little detour, I guess.
Yeah.
That or being like in lines at like a Safeway or something, and they were like, you know, like, how's it going? Like, yeah, I'm just like, I don't know you. They're like, I just really like your dress, like, and everything. Like, you seem like you really do this and this, and I'm like, no.
Yeah. That's not me.
No. And then it's just more deeper conversations. I'm like, okay, that was a very interesting thing. I just was paying for a couple stuff in the line. I mean, this is why I go to Express Checkout. I just can't. My battery is dead by the time I leave the grocery store. I just left for 2 seconds.
I came to get some bread and some cheese.
20 things and I'm still going to Express Checkout. I just need to go from here to the car.
That's funny. Because I was telling Dad the other day, I was like, you know, I don't know her. I don't know where I know her from. I've never seen her in the pickle aisle at the grocery store or nothing. I don't know this woman. He's like, the pickle aisle? I don't know why I started saying that, but that's what that means. You run into people in the grocery store and you can say, oh yeah, I remember her. I remember her at the grocery store that one day. So yeah, when I don't see nobody. I mean, when I meet people and they be like, yeah, you remember? And I'm like, and that's scary. Sometimes people come up to me and they be like, hey, and I be like, hey, and they want to give me a hug, and that really make me feel like a way, because I'm like, they must really know me.
I be remembering people. I may not remember their names, but I know their faces for sure. And I'm like, oh, I've definitely seen you before. I've definitely had an interaction with you before. And then if I'm inclined, I'm like, do I know you from this? And they were like, yeah. I'm like, that's what
I don't know if it's a lack of vitamin D or my iron is low or what, because I be like, I don't remember them. I don't know that lady. And she know me. One time, someone was like, yeah, how's little Cheyenne? I'm like, little Cheyenne ain't little no more, but she know my baby. I don't know this woman. But it be concerning me because I'm like, okay, well.
Like, who you be? What you mean? State yourself.
And they seem so comfortable and confident. And I don't want to bust their little bubble, be like, who are you? So I don't say nothing.
You on the inside, like, who is this?
Yeah.
Trying to go through your little file cabinet in your mind.
No, that's when you be like, what's your new number? Put your number in the phone.
See, that's why you got all these numbers in your phone.
Girl.
To begin with.
Look, now people gonna see this and be like, did she really want my number or she just don't remember me? Yeah.
She'll remember you now. She
I
got your
remember you
number.
now. I know
She
who
got
you
your
are.
number. Or you be just asking us, like, I remember such and such. Do you remember she may have had the little boy? I'm like, oh yeah, it's them.
Right.
And you be like,
Oh. Now I be wanting to reverse, go back,
"Nah,
and
I
make
gotta
it a
wanna
better
talk to 'em."
introduction.
Yeah. She said, I'm gonna follow up with them tomorrow.
My goodness. I know you guys were like, you know everybody.
You do. Well, everybody know you.
Me.
She said, I don't know everybody. Everybody know me. There's that. And they're like,
Good people. Good people.
It's in her heart, y'all. It's by her heart.
It is. I think when you have kids, though, you start forgetting a little bit here and there, and it's not intentional. It's just a lot of events happen in a short amount of time. But the ones that you're connected with every day, that's why I say you gotta be invested. You know. So yeah, this has been a nice little comfy chat.
A little comfy chat. A little rainy day chit chat.
Yeah.
But yes, just like being connected with your voice. And even if you don't know what your voice is yet, there's never, you'll find it.
You'll find it.
It's like it's never too late. Like you'll find it. There'll be something that clicks, and you'll be more confident in yourself. And confidence is a day-to-day thing. It's not something that's like, oh, I was confident on December 12th as of 2021.
And you'll be confident in different things.
Yeah, in different things. So it's a work in progress. Confidence is not linear. It's progresses.
And I think it's also important to be reminded that everybody's going through different things. And we're all evolving. So who you may have connected with today may be different in certain ways later. And we just give each other grace.
Yep.
And be true to your core as best as you can.
Absolutely.
I understand in certain environments sometimes, you might have to be a little more assertive. Sometimes you have to be a little more, relaxed. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Give yourself some grace.
And you are enough. Be yourself. Just be yourself. Yep.
So, thank you for spending time with us.
And remember, you're never on this journey alone.
So until next time,
have faith.
And keep blooming.
And keep blooming.
Bye.